up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
And now, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts now.
All right, here we go. I am fired up on a terrific Tuesday. This is the Snake Sports Talk Show wherever and however you may be watching and listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. As you can see, I'm repping the jersey, I'm repping the hat. Everything you need to rep in your favorite show on all platforms known to man. Go to iHeartRadio, all your social medias. All you got to do is like, follow, subscribe, hit the bell button, keep you up to date on future and past episodes. I'm ready. I'm ready for at least the remainder of this week of the season for the NFL. Plus, also, too, we'll talk a little Major League Baseball and World Series action. I am ready. Appreciate everybody for joining on. Shouting out to all of our fans up out there. Linda, good evening to you. Appreciate you coming on by. So we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of truths, more truths coming out. Close to week 9, about the start of November is when the trade deadline will be on. So I figured we'd talk about what happened last night. So let's go to the first game, which was Baltimore and Tampa Bay. So Baltimore, Lamar Jackson is now 23-1 versus the NFC. I mean, Lamar Jackson is just unbelievable against opponents in the NFC, and I think we already know that. But Lamar and what Baltimore does, I mean, this was equipped for Lamar to not only run the football, but to pass as well. I mean, this is part of the reason Todd Monken, given the offensive coordinating job, is because they want to open the pass game even more for Lamar Jackson. Okay, and the Ravens, we know, yes, they've lost a couple of people on defense, but it doesn't stop with how hard Baltimore plays week in and week out. Last night just basically showed you Lamar Jackson, 17 of 22, 281 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks, and 52 rushing yards. I mean, he's putting up MVP numbers. Now, I will say, and I've said this before, not a lot of people believed it, but my rebuttal to this was the only person who you know is playing like an MVP, but right now the team is just not showing it, is the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. I mean, if you've seen his numbers, you will understand what I'm talking about. But he's not in the front runner of MVP because right now the team's performances is not helping him. But he's playing like an MVP if you want to look at quarterback stature. But Lamar continues to just wow us every week. And especially when you're playing the NFC. I mean, with a terrific record at 23-1, the NFC has no blueprint to stop him. Listen, Tampa Bay is a very good NFC team. Let's not get that misconstrued. It is really, really hard. The fact that Chris Godwin is now out for the season with a gruesome ankle injury, and for Mike Evans, they won't expect him back until after the bye week of week 11. So the Buccaneers kind of hit this rut. And it sucks. It really does. And a lot of people, a lot of people will tell you, like, once you lose a lot of those key pieces on offense, it changes the entirety of the offense. And Baker Mayfield has been having a great season thus far, and he works for Tampa Bay. Lamar Jackson just knows how to really play these teams very, very well. I mean, he does. And ultimately, there's no stopping him if you're an NFC team. The only one that I've said that I thought was very, very entertaining was the game against the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels, because you're watching with what Lamar Jackson has done since 2018, since his rookie year. You're watching with everything he's doing. And Jaden Daniels, the new rookie in town, has just about similar qualities and the similar rapport as Lamar would. The only difference of it is I think both of their pocket presences is different, and sometimes their decision making. But I think you can kind of see a little bit of identical play styles. I think Jaden is much more snap and go type. He can move. And Lamar, he's a very excellent runner, and he can see everything that's up and in front of him. And he just knows how to get out the pocket. Only problem with Lamar and the Ravens is, of course, they have to face the kryptonite, just like Buffalo, against the Kansas City Chiefs. That is the one kryptonite that has prevented them from sneaking themselves over the top. But you can't go wrong with Lamar Jackson week in, week out, when he gives you performances like this, especially against the NFC. And could you imagine Lamar Jackson if he was in the NFC? Like, Washington, they flirted with the idea of trying to acquire him when he didn't have his contract yet. They were trying to match the deal. Baltimore won it. And so I could only imagine with what Lamar Jackson could be like if he was in the NFC, because then we wouldn't be talking about Dak a lot. We wouldn't even be talking about Jalen Hurts, a lot of these other teams in the NFC, if this was to happen. But Lamar, as you know, he's the king against the NFC, 23-1, and he continues to surprise us and just gives us a show anytime he's facing against the NFC. I think we can clearly say that he's dominated this conference. But only one that he has to get past is he has to get past Kansas City. But Lamar, we know, kind of takes it out on himself at times when it comes to this. But when he's literally let loose like this, you could only imagine with what he would do if he was able to play this style of football against his kryptonite. What a show. What a show. And last night, I mean, I enjoyed a very delicious dinner with my beautiful wife on our 1-year anniversary. And I mean, when I come back to some of these highlights and I just see this, I mean, life is good when you know you got such great quality content that you could just share out and just really give your opinions on it. I mean, Lamar Jackson clearly runs this NFC. All right. Let's talk about something that did not look so well the second game, which was the Chargers and the Cardinals. Listen, the LA Chargers, we know right now, has had a change in culture. All right. And this is precisely what you would have expected. And to me personally, I mean, I would have known the Chargers themselves, and I've said it before the season, is that this was going to be quite a challenge for the Chargers moving forward. You just moved a lot of his pieces. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and all to just basically try to open up more cap, which I get that. But last night basically showed you, and if there's any team that I can, if I could honestly end up comparing this to, remember when the Buffalo Bills, when they lost, when Khalil Shakir, before Amari Cooper arrived, Khalil Shakir was out. You were putting all the pressure on a rookie's shoulders and Keon Coleman and a wide receiver in Curtis Samuel, which, to be honest with you, doesn't have the same amount of juice like he did years ago. And so, to me, the Chargers and the Bills almost seem identical in situations. The only difference now is that the Bills upgraded at wide receiver. Amari Cooper got his first receiving touchdown since the trade deadline, and he looks good. He looks better than Devontae Adams. So, to me, and I'll get to the Jets a little later on here in the game, in the segment, but I think the Chargers, if you are the team right now, I think it's time to put aside a lot of your thoughts on what you're trying to basically do, as far as I get it with the culture shift and all the rest of it. But Justin Herbert, get this, 27 of 39, 349 passing yards without a touchdown against arguably one of the bottom 5 defenses in the league in the Arizona Cardinals. That's just unacceptable. And the Chargers in prime time, before Jim Harbaugh lost his very first time on Monday Night Football, he was 6-0. But that game, and look, I had to save today because it almost nearly made me blow a gasket a bit, because 7-6 at halftime, something was clearly wrong. And what I've said before, Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, and this is what's harder on Justin Herbert as well, is Roman is a pro run-first type offensive coordinator. There's no denying it. And he's been successful of it up to this point. But you saw from past history, from San Francisco, where he had Frank Gore and he had a couple of other really good running backs that were physical, and they ran the football a lot. They ran it with Colin Kaepernick. They ran it with Frank Gore, multiple others. Then you got Baltimore, where you have Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, and multiple other running backs aside from it too, and even Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. And yet people complained because Lamar was not passing the ball a lot, because Roman is a run-first type offensive coordinator. I think Justin Herbert, this is what I feel bad for, is because the Chargers know that they have a very, very talented roster. And right now, I mean, the defense is arguably, I think, one of the top 5, top 10 best defenses right now in the league, because Jesse Minter turned this defense around in a span of months, something that Brandon Staley could have been able to do in 3 years. And now Justin Herbert is without his top weapons. You've got a rookie wide receiver in Ladd McConkey, who I really like, but it's going to take time for him to develop in this offense. Quentin Johnston, you're trying to get the best out of him to prove he's not a bust. And DJ Chark, Brendan Rice, like this offensive weaponry lacks in veteran experience, which is why that I think if you are the Chargers, and just like with what the Buffalo Bills did before Amari Cooper arrived, they went and got a receiver. And now Amari, and what's perfect about that is it allows Keon Coleman to now be comfortable having a veteran receiver, learning from him, being as his mentor. It'd be perfect. So, and it's working. Buffalo wants to get over the top and beat Kansas City. The way you do it is you got to have the right people, the right personnel around you, and it's a young defense. I mean, they got rid of all of their defensive expensive contracts, like Trey White, several others. And the Bills, they are a young team, but what they're looking like right now is Josh Allen. He got at least a lot of the drama out of the room. You get a young wide receiver. You get a veteran experienced wide receiver in Amari Cooper, and look at how much it turns it around. Could you imagine if Justin Herbert at least got the help he needed? You know what I get tired of is I get tired of people thinking that there's cop-outs for Justin Herbert. People are thinking, he's not a top 10 quarterback in this league. Really? Would a top 10 quarterback throw for over 400, close to 400 passing yards, and yet his team continues to let him down? Would he sacrifice himself physically with a broken rib, a torn labrum, broken finger, all this stuff? Would he do that and not be a top 10 quarterback? In this league right now, I think a lot of people really need to resurface this. Justin Herbert is capable of doing the things that he was meant to do, which is throw the football, make smart decisions, make plays off script in order to get the team downfield. The problem of it is wide receiving core is not that strong. You have an offensive coordinator that continuously overly relies on the run game for it to work. I mean, it's the definition of insanity. You are running the same exact play, hoping for different results. And it clearly was not working with J.K. Dobbins. He got shut down. And against a defense that has been torched all season long, which never made any sense. But we get it. Physical. You build a culture. I mean, that's who Jim Harbaugh is. Now, Jim doesn't give up on projects that he hasn't seen flourish yet. I understand that too. But you are until November 5th right now to make a move at wide receiver. There's DeAndre Hopkins. Christian Kirk's name's been out there. Mike Williams, you can reunite. There's more and more wide receivers. And now I've gotten reports that Cooper Kupp right now is looking to be shopped around. So what are you waiting for? If you really want to help Justin Herbert, and a lot of this is an organization problem, and it's been an organization problem. If you look at it, now I'm not going to get as far as to what Colin Cowherd said, saying that he is arguably the better quarterback than Phillip Rivers, because the difference is Phillip was a competitor, and they gave Phillip a lot of those weapons. And he not only had Chris Chambers and Antonio Gates and Eric Parker, and then also had Keenan Allen down the road, but he was a competitor, which is why wouldn't you make the case that he should be respected as a quarterback? Justin Herbert is already in year 6. And I think we're getting tired of the same old result every single time, which is what Jim Harbaugh is trying to change. He's trying to change the so-called chargering effect, which has never worked with them either. So if you are the Chargers and you're Dean Spanos and you're Joe Ortiz, I would honestly consider making a move. I would go and get a wide receiver, because look at what's happened with Josh Allen. I think arguably they're just about similar quarterbacks if you really think about it from situational standards, because Buffalo got rid of Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, but yet rewarded him with Amari Cooper and with Keon Coleman. Why can't you do the same for Justin Herbert? I like Quentin Johnston. I think he's very much improved. I also do like Ladd McConkey, the rookie. I think he has a very good positive upside. But if you bring in a veteran receiver, this will help at least the development of your receiving core, and this will help Justin Herbert to have a reliable target that's up out there, and everybody else now gets elevated in this wide receiving core. It's just too young. Okay? Think about it when Jim Harbaugh, I mean, there were young receivers up at that point in San Francisco. I mean, think about it when they got Anquan Boldin. It was a completely different offense, and you could see it. So why not? Cooper Kupp, Christian Kirk, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, they're all out there. So why not go ahead and make a move? Your defense is great. The last thing you want to do is waste away your defense. I think get a wide receiver, and maybe you should honestly go and get a corner, knowing that Asante Samuel's out for 2 weeks. So, because think about it, Greg Newsome's out there. He doesn't even have a contract at this point. So all I'm saying is go and make a move, because it's only going to benefit where you sit at right now. And they are a middle of the pack organization right now. They're like right in the middle. So good stuff. I don't try to Like, this is my thing. I don't throw my fandom out there, but I like to find clarity and I like to find understandings that make sense. So, and I'm seeing this with a lot of teams. Right now, the Chiefs are riding the train that they're comfortable. They're winning games this way. I mean, San Francisco, they're without Brandon Ayuk, and they just paid him. And now it's already looking as harder as it is right now than what it should be. And that's not good. That's not good. And there are other teams that are looking for other options. But if you really want to be reasonable about this, I mean, you got to go and make some moves. But I'll tell you what, though, this trade deadline is going to be stacked. There are a lot of big names out there. There are some I feel like there are guys that are 1-2 year rentals, but then the rest of them, I mean, there could be some guys you could make some bargain deals on. But I think for some, you got to look at it from the performance standpoint and where exactly it sits you afterward. So, I had a lot to talk about, but I definitely got to unload on what is happening right now with the New York Jets. And is this right now starting to trend that Russell Wilson, after what I just saw on Sunday night, is this trending towards the team possibly making a bigger jump than where they were at when they started with Justin Fields? More of that to come here on coming up next. All right. Well, I'm telling you guys, these bets have been unbelievable. And like I've said before, you're home for Jake's Prime Predictions. BetUS has you covered all season long with some of the best sports book in the country. Over 30 years of doing it. And plus also the best prop bets as well when you go up on BetUS today. All the best straight parlay leg bets, all of it to choose from to keep you on the edge of your game. Now, BetUS, the best part about it is once you sign up, you are giving yourself your very own account manager to give you all the best statistics, all of the best advices and analysis of what's happening each week during the NFL season. And now, by the way, happy NBA opening tip-off. NBA season is now around the corner and underway as well. So we are in the prime time of sports. Hockey's around, the World Series, so many things to choose from on your betting lines to keep you on the edge of your game. When you sign up, $50 or more to your deposit, 125% bonus, up to 3 deposits that get you up to $2,000. More chances to win, more chances to get involved into some daily contests as well. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER and also seek therapy in your respective state because we want you to gamble responsibly when you use BetUS. Check out BetUS for yourself today. Don't miss out on all the best daily contests at BetUS.com, where the game begins.
Looking for a show with the best takes and opinions? Want a show with the best coverage around the world of sports? Jam-packed with an all-star interview lineup? Then the best place to find it all, sports and entertainment, is right here. Join Jake Silva on the Snake Sports Talk Show, presented by SeatGeek and BetUS. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
Check out the Con Man live on the Sports Corner, coming to a screen near you, giving you the greatest stories from basketball legends you've never seen before. Sharing their glory, building the toughness, and how they show off their swag. But only one man knows all that, and that's the Con Man. Join Michael Conceição, the Con Man, at the Sports Corner, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific on Sportsway Network.
All right, well, I will tell you what. When I watched that Sunday night football game between the Jets and the Steelers, one thing I will tell you is, I don't think I've ever seen one of the biggest sellout jobs than what Aaron Rodgers is currently doing to this Jets franchise. And, this is embarrassing. And look, this is what the state of the New York Jets has become. It's Aaron Rodgers' team now. There's no changing it, no turning back from it, because Woody Johnson basically invested all of this time, all of this money in Aaron Rodgers to be their franchise quarterback and to really lead the Jets into the promised land. What has Aaron Rodgers looked like in the past 2 seasons with the Green Bay Packers? He does not look like the same Aaron Rodgers that we knew and loved by the time he won his MVPs, by the time he won his Super Bowl. He's not the same quarterback. I get sick and tired of when people end up throwing up their pom-poms. Yay, we're going to win the AFC East. The Jets are no longer going to jet anymore. Well, it seems like turbulence is becoming a problem on that jet plane, isn't it? Let's look at this history. Mike McCarthy, when he ended up coaching the Green Bay Packers. Now, there is some truth to this, okay, because even Troy Aikman, I'll get to a little bit of that with the Dallas Cowboys. But Mike McCarthy, and what Troy Aikman said it best, the longer McCarthy is at head coach, whether it was the Packers or right now with the Dallas Cowboys, he has an overly tendency to be way too loose, puffs his chest out, acting like, analytics, statistics, all that. And he tends to be sloppy. Well, Aaron kind of knew that right off the bat. So even when they fire Mike McCarthy, they then go and get Matt LaFleur, their next successor at head coach. And you know how many times Aaron tried to, paint this picture that Matt LaFleur isn't really the coach that you think he is? Aaron's out there in a darkness retreat, smoking ayahuasca, all this other stuff, and he's just doing Aaron things. And yet, the Packers and Brian Gutekunst, remember that whole conversation where Brian Gutekunst wanted Aaron out of Green Bay because they're tired of this trauma. They are tired of him basically checks himself out, does all this other stuff, and doesn't really care about the team. Because football and sports in general is a team. It's a team environment. It's a team of we, not a team of I. And that's where I think we've landed at with Aaron Rodgers. So when the Packers drafted Jordan Love, of course it pissed off Aaron. I mean, but think about it. It pissed off Brett Favre when Aaron was drafted initially. Remember how that played out? I mean, Brett was pissed. I mean, he was tampering with the retirement thing, but then goes to play for the Jets, and then yet goes to play for the Vikings. So Aaron, by the time he came into this league, of course, they called him the golden child, the kid from NorCal, couldn't do no wrong. Certainly was fun to watch. And nobody could play like how Aaron played at quarterback. That's a simple fact. Jesse Palmer will tell you that. But here's the other thing, though, too. There's a side to Aaron that right now is showing itself. And boy, does it look bad. So Aaron kind of feels like his stuff don't stink. And it feels a lot like Aaron Rodgers has just become arrogant Aaron. And the thing that worried me about the Jets is the Jets were going to get sold into this idea and this thought. And Aaron comes out. I mean, the first year was the red carpet, but then suffers an Achilles injury, done for the season. 40-year-old quarterback. And let me tell you something about injuries that usually don't always come back repaired the same way the older you get, because muscles, tissues, tendons, all those things don't always work out the best way as you get older. It's life. It happens. And so right now, with this whole circus show that we're seeing with the Jets, because a lot of Jet fans, they're kind of riding into this. They are riding into this turbulence train of nonsense, and they're being sold upon it by Aaron. Okay, sold you on the idea. He comes in, turns this franchise around. The franchise is no longer a laughing stock. You're in the Big Apple, New York media. It's all good here. It's all good. Well, the Jets right now doesn't look like things are good. You fired your head coach, Robert Saleh, who players liked, and he was a difference maker on the defense. You then appoint Jeff Ulbrich, the defensive coordinator, as your interim coach. You demote Nate Hackett, who I'm surprised he's still employed. I would have fired him if it was me, because what has Nate Hackett really done? I mean, we could say what we want to about Josh McDaniels and what he's done, but at least as an offensive coordinator, he did something right for New England, and it worked for Brady. Brady trusted him. Whereas Nate Hackett, it feels like this is a babysitting job. So he gets demoted. They bring in Todd Downing as the play caller. Sure, things kind of changed up a little bit. I mean, you can kind of see it. Breece Hall running the football efficiently, dump-offs, checkdowns, all that stuff. He looks good. Then you got Braylon Allen. So things somewhat are changing. But then there's a game where Aaron Rodgers throws Mike Williams under the bus because he's not running the right routes. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. So then you go and get Devontae Adams. Okay? Aaron's trusty best friend. 4 catches for 40 receiving yards against the Steelers. A Steelers defense that is clearly shut down when you're in Pittsburgh. And yet Aaron, as usual, Aaron Rodgers just gets a little arrogant. And I think at the same time, he gets annoyed. And you know what? Like, I mean, that happens. That happens for anybody. But I think we are seeing the point in Aaron right now that it's not looking promising for the Jets at all. At all. And this is starting to become such a circus show that I kind of feel bad for Jet fans. I really do. Like, I have a spot for Jet fans that it's just like, why go through this headache? Why go through with this? I mean, this is absurd. And it's not going to get any better. It's just not. Aaron Rodgers is selling you on the fact that things are all good here. Okay, we're changing some things up. All this other stuff. But you know what I think? I think it's the same old Jets that it's never going to get any better. You are with what your organization is, and Woody Johnson is allowing this to happen. You know? It's like, and you know what's funny is I could be very critical of Nick Sirianni basically being that guy that, you know, throws the keys out to his coordinators and hopes he's going to get, you know, they're going to get this train rolling. Well, that's not how it works. And you know what? If you're going to change a culture that has not seen relevancy for quite some time, then it's just not going to work. Aaron clearly is not a team guy. It just looks like there's all sorts of talented guys from top to bottom on this roster, but there's no camaraderie. There's nothing. And this is why I feel bad for Jet fans to have to go through this headache. Because wouldn't you honestly want the best for this organization? Think about it if Aaron Rodgers wasn't in this organization. Could you imagine? Robert Saleh would have never got fired. And Aaron wouldn't do what Aaron does on a daily basis. Doesn't take accountability. He's all about himself. Takes personal trips, whether it's darkness retreat, whether it's, Egypt, whatever it is. You say, block out all the media noise. Well, then why the hell are you out there promoting and funding for Robert Kennedy? I thought you said get rid of the background noise. Clearly, you want to be seen. You want people to be involved in your life. You know, my wife and I live a private life, and I would rather live that because I love my marriage. I love my family. I love my life. Why would I want New York media to be involved in everything that I do? Why? I mean, sure, I am a popular face. I mean, you see me on the camera and the mic, but I don't want to be on the spotlight as much. I really don't. I'm going to live my life. But Aaron wants you to be a part of all this stuff. And right now, Aaron doing what Aaron does best, this is not good. And Jet fans are feeling this, and it's only a matter of time until it only gets worse. If it were me, I'm not bringing Aaron back. I'd be kicking the tires off this thing if you don't make the playoffs. Because then it's all on Aaron. You fired the coach. You demoted the offensive coordinator. You bring in Devontae Adams. This is all on you now. How's that going to go over well with Woody Johnson? I feel like he has to put in a PSA announcement to every Jet fan out there, just like John Mara did with the Giants. I just smell it coming. But this is not going to work out well the next few games. I can promise you that. All right, time for the news.
This is the hot press.
I'm going in. I mean, listen, the Snake Sports Talk Show, why I'm called Jake the Snake is because I'm sinking my fangs in. I'm sinking my fangs in on the truth. I mean, that's what this is. So, as cheesy and as corny as it sounds, this is what I do. I mean, you want the truth. There's my truth. Aaron Rodgers clearly is destroying any possibility that he can of the Jets being a better relevant. So, all right, let's get into some news here, shall we? All right, so this actually just broke out right now. So, Alvin Kamara, who was in fact a trade target, like there were a lot of possibilities of Alvin Kamara possibly being on the move. Well, apparently, sources have told ESPN today, confirming that the New Orleans Saints have agreed to a 2-year extension with the star back, Alvin Kamara, which is, according to reports, the extension is worth approximately $24.5 million. So Kamara was the last major contract the Saints had not restructured or addressed. Kamara did not go to 1 day of mandatory minicamp because of his contract, went through training camp as normal, and said he is willing to play the season without a new deal. And as of right now for Alvin Kamara, he's got 111 carries this season for 438 yards, 6 touchdowns, also has 34 receptions for 252 yards. So Kamara, though, however, he denied trade rumors that were said on X and that he would like to finish his career in New Orleans. So it seems to me, I mean, the New Orleans Saints right now, I mean, they look like frauds. Let me just tell you one thing about that. You could keep Alvin Kamara, but you know what I saw? I saw a list of cap spaces for next season. New Orleans Saints are dead last. They owe $81 million. Cap it. They are truthfully in hell. How long could you keep this up if you are the Saints? Listen, I can understand loyalty to a team, but the last few games since that complete blowout in the first 2 weeks, they have not looked the same. Derek Carr has been on injury, is on the injury list. Spencer Rattler, a rookie right now, is getting his cage rattled, and it's not looking good. They got boat raced against Denver on Thursday night on a short week. So things right now are not looking bright at all for the Saints. I just don't know how long it's going to honestly take for them to realize that they are in such cap hell that they need to start making moves. This roster's too old. This roster cannot end up carrying a bunch of this. And by the way, you're without Rashid Shaheed for the rest of the year. Chris Olave's hurt, but he may end up coming back. But this is terrible. I don't get it. I really, really don't get it. So the Panthers, this was just broken in as soon as I just went into the gym earlier today. And I'm very happy that this was a positive result in the end. But Carolina Panthers quarterback Andy Dalton was involved in an automobile accident just this afternoon in Charlotte. So Dalton, his wife, and his 3 children and their dog, they were traveling west to Sardis Road near Providence Road, around 7 miles from Bank of America Stadium when the accident occurred. Now, luckily, no one in the vehicle was transported by emergency medical personnel to the hospital. However, Dalton was being evaluated by team medical personnel. He said there's no further information that's available at this time on the accident, especially for Dalton's availability against Broncos this next Sunday's game. So luckily, everybody is safe. Everybody is okay and healthy. Now, the determining factor is does Andy Dalton start? I think personally, he still does. But we know right now things are not looking bright for the Carolina Panthers. It's just not. But, I mean, my only takeaway of this is because you still have to, at some point, really recognize what Panthers right now need to do. And this is not a good team. You clearly know that. But they still have to try to make Bryce Young work. I mean, he's sat down already quite some time. But, we'll see. But I just think right now, I'm very happy that the family is okay. I'm happy that they're safe. But time will tell, and we'll see what happens from there. All right. So finally, so like I was talking about of the Jets. So Aaron Rodgers, as I've said, I've synced it in. Things are not really looking good right now for what the Jets are looking at. Aaron Rodgers continuing to be Aaron Rodgers, doing Aaron Rodgers stuff. So he said on Pat McAfee's show, which he's very, very close with, close ties, loves Pat McAfee, all the rest of it. I like Pat McAfee too. But losers of 4 straight, the Jets are in the fire, according to Aaron Rodgers. And he believes it's on him to save them. Well, wouldn't you know? You don't say. So here was Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show and what he basically had to express with currently right now with their fourth straight loss and what the Jets need to do to get themselves back on track.
Aaron, we hear people talk about all the time, like the process. Trust the process. Try to enjoy the whole process and don't worry about the results and everything. How is that, like, when you're thinking about that, does your process stay the same when the results are not what you have had in the past and not what you want?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mr. Media Guy.
That's a good question, Mr. Media Guy. Because he's MMG. Oi! 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 Sorry.
Mr. Media Guy, I love that. That could be a new nickname. The process has to stay the same as far as the core principles of it. But I think there's always room for tweaking, and it involves a lot of self-reflection. And I think that's what we all need to do is look at our own process. And the core kind of foundational pieces of that process should be able to be sustained from week one into the playoffs. But there's always little tweaks that need to go on. And it's hyper-awareness of your role on the team and how you can do that to the best of your abilities. You know, if you're a teamer and that's your role, you got to do it to the best of your abilities every single week, every day in practice, preparation, on game day. If you're an impact player, you got to show up every single day and practice the right way.
Yeah, Mr. Media Guy. That media guy just so happens to be your former teammate, Aaron. That's AJ Hawk. Okay? Like, Mr. Media Guy. Okay. I don't know. I've said my piece with it. I'm already at this point now where it's just not looking good for Aaron Rodgers at all. And you're starting to see that. Like, I don't know what to think of it. I think the Jets are right now in a hard place, and it's not going to get any better. That's regardless of having Devontae Adams. But, yeah, what can you do? Cross your fingers and hoping that the season still is alive, but I've put this season right now up and on the back burner for the Jets. I just don't think this is honestly working out well. I feel like Aaron's just kind of a shell of himself, and that's that. So, all right. What do I know? I'm just Mr. Media Guy, as it sees from Aaron's eye. All right. There was the news.
This is the hot press.
Yeah, Mr. Media Guy. I mean, for somebody that, again, a former teammate of yours, AJ Hawk, you call him Mr. Media Guy? I'm sure Pat McAfee really got a kick out of that. But that was, oh God. All right. So I do want to touch into this. We got about 10 minutes left of the show. So Sunday night, that there was the best looking version of Russell Wilson I think I've ever seen in quite some time. And we can feel happy we can honestly be happy. The fact that Russell Wilson in a new environment, I mean, he's clearly playing his best football, and that was only just in one game. What is it that, as I've said before, and I'll say it again, the way for Russell Wilson to work is he cannot be in an organization that is asking for a savior at quarterback. That's where Denver really screwed up. Okay, and I live in Denver. Denver clearly is still bitter about that. They are bitter of the fact that they paid Aaron Rodgers, or they paid Russell Wilson way too early. My mistake. But this is the best version of Russell Wilson, I think, we've seen now in 2 seasons since being in Denver. And I can honestly feel happy for Russell. We know Russell tends to be overly optimistic. Okay, and that was what was one of the things that really irritated Sean Payton the most, is he's overly optimistic. It was quite an oddball. I wasn't even sure what to think of this, but Russell looks a lot better and he looked a lot more poised in the pocket. The other thing is that Russell Wilson was not a pocket passer to begin with. Sure, he had a little bit of some presence there in the pocket, but he's always been a scrambler, always has been more mobility than being just a straight pocket passer and just going for those throws. He's capable of being mobile, moving out of the pocket, create space, and this is what they've done. He's gotten George Pickens involved. He had Calvin Austin that nobody even knew about have over 100 receiving yards in that Sunday night's big-time win against the Jets. And it made a mockery of Aaron Rodgers. So here's the thing. You saw the differences between Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Okay, Russell in an environment where you're not asking for an organization, you're not asking him to be the savior of this organization. They don't need saving. Okay, they've already established their culture. They are a proud franchise. Mike Tomlin, we know, has a winning record. And as of right now, and this is what I said before the beginning of the season, you cannot go into the season knowing you've got Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and that Browns defense before it became an absolute tire fire twice a year and be mediocre at quarterback. Kenny Pickett was not your answer. Okay, I felt like they only drafted him because he was Pittsburgh royalty. Okay, Pittsburgh kid. You tried that. It failed. Get over it. That's in the past. Mason Rudolph. You had Devlin Hodges. You had a bunch of these other quarterbacks. When Big Ben left, I mean, this is how marginalized the Steelers' quarterback room literally looked like. And once you got Russell for as dirt cheap as you did, because you're not paying him, Denver's paying all that money because they decided they were going to pay all this money, and now look at where it's getting them. They now have to stretch out that whole dead cap space. But it seems to be working because Sean Payton found his guy in Bo Nix. So the relationship does look a little different. But all Mike Tomlin is asking for from Russell Wilson is just be a quarterback. We're not asking you to be a savior. We're not asking you to do all this other stuff. Just be a quarterback. And look at what it gets you. Okay, I like Justin Fields. I really do. And the thing about Justin Fields is he's making less amount of mistakes than what he was in Chicago. But Justin Fields is an RPO quarterback. Let's be honest there. He's not as that accurate in the pocket. Okay? He's making the throws as he should, making less amount of mistakes than what he was in Chicago, but he's not quite that kind of quarterback than what you saw the differences of two of those quarterbacks. Between him and Russ can extend the plays more than Justin Fields. Justin Fields is much more mobile, and he's an RPO quarterback. I feel like the recipe of success right now for the Steelers, Najee Harris, I mean, this was a prove-it year. You clearly see that, and the Steelers' run game looks a little bit different. All right? So that's one part. The defense looks great. This has always been a defensive culture with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's never going to change. But the only difference is that they've been so marginalized at quarterback once Big Ben retired. They did not figure out the quarterback position. I felt like there were about a couple of years they completely bailed and missed on. And then once Russell was available on the market, they went and got him for cheap because they feel like we can just have him as a quarterback. And think about this. Russell doesn't work well. Clearly, when he is trying to be the savior of a franchise, that doesn't work. So, and if you think about it, Pete Carroll, defensive-minded coach, hard on his players, expects results, and will do whatever it takes for the team to look like its best. And it worked. Legion of Boom. And sure, there may have been times where there were little tiffs here and there between him and Pete. And Pete Carroll's like, get him out of here. They did that, and then goes to Denver. Clearly, Nate Hackett was off his skis. It didn't work. They fire him after 1 year. Goes and gets Sean Payton, an offensive-minded coach. And Payton, this was never working with Russell Wilson at the beginning. But Russell was not terrible either. 24 touchdowns, 8 picks, clearly was serviceable and was productive. The problem is him and Payton couldn't get along. It didn't work. It didn't mesh. So Denver now has to eat the money, goes and takes close to about a $1.5 million contract with Pittsburgh, and Mike Tomlin, a defensive-minded coach who's a players-type coach, gets the best of his players, regardless of the drama with George Pickens and all the rest of it, because it seems to me running backs, wide receivers, they always seem to have drama in Pittsburgh. Look at AB. Look at Le'Veon Bell. Look at Martavis Bryant, a bunch of other wide receivers. And then George Pickens. And then after Sunday night on prime time, I mean, that looked good. That looked good. So all I'm saying is don't throw the towel on Russell Wilson just yet. I felt like he looked much more poised, looked like the quarterback that we were hoping he would be in Denver. It's a lot better. Russell looks happy. It seems like everybody's getting the best out of Russ. Now, this is just 1 week. But let's see what next week really poses and what it provides when Russell Wilson starts again. But Mike Tomlin basically told you something that not a lot of people told you in the end. So I'm just excited for what it'll look like come down the stretch. But I think this works for Pittsburgh. I mean, give Russell 2 more games. Okay, 2 more. If this is consistent, and we know the Jets are the Jets, they're horrible. But if this works, I think Pittsburgh dodged the biggest bullet at quarterback, because you cannot be mediocre in that North, and especially in the AFC as a whole. You've got to be talented at quarterback. You've got to be the mover at quarterback. And Mike Tomlin is looking like a genius. Has defense down, may have found his quarterback. Give me 2 more games of that. And if Russell looks a lot better in 2 more games, I think Pittsburgh, you can make an argument. This is what Mike Tomlin's been trying to show us. So, only a matter of time. All right, folks, that's going to do it here for me on the show. Appreciate all of you guys for being here with us tonight. Show is sponsored by BetUS. If you haven't done so already, check out BetUS for yourself. One of the best sporting books in 30 years plus running. All right, don't miss out on the daily contest that you can get involved in every single week and every single day. NBA tip-off, NFL season, hockey season, also World Series and Major League Baseball, and the best casino games. $50 or more to your deposit, 125% bonuses of up to $2,000 in your first 3 deposits with an account manager to get you the best and the edge of your game. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Seek therapy in your respective states wherever you need help to ensure you gamble responsibly, because BetUS does not want you to gamble irresponsibly. They want you to get the best of some of the best sports book and some of the best sporting analysis on all of your daily sporting needs all season long. BetUS, where the game begins. Also by SeatGeek. If you're looking for your best seat in the house at the most affordable price, SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. $20 off by using the promo code SNAKESPORTS. That's promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off of your first purchase of your first ticket. Experience-wise, SeatGeek is the best ticketing app for your next event. That is SeatGeek.com. Download it on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. Promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off of your first purchase of your first ticket. Jake Silva signing off. See y'all tomorrow for another edition of the Snake Sports Talk Show. See you later, guys. Take care of each other. See you tomorrow.